Hey everybody, Sia here. I've previously made 3 videos going over the majority of Samurai Shodown 2019's cast. This video is for rounding up the final 9 characters I've left out. Are these characters in some in-between spot that wouldn't have fit my previous videos? Maybe some, but the real reasons I omitted them were I didn't feel confident enough in talking about them at the time, or there were other characters I wanted to prioritize. But if your favorite character still hasn't been mentioned yet, the wait is finally over. This is the everybody else of Samurai Shodown 2019. I'm sure I'll come up with a better title by the time I'm done editing. Anyways, most of the characters I'll be talking about today are pretty strong and have at least some good results to their names. A few even being just below top tier. But there is one exception to the list that we'll be getting into right now. First debuting in Sam Show 2, Cham Cham in Sam Show 2019 is God's silliest low tier. She has a bit of everything, but her kit is geared towards a mixed heavy rushdown game plan that annoys the opponent to death. Although she has a fireball, Cham Cham thrives more in closer ranges. She has a fast run speed, just below the best. Her medium buttons have decent range and crouching B is special cancelable. Her light buttons have short range but are fast and non-deflectable. Her best normal is definitely her down forward D. A slide that's great at catching opponents running at her, and it can be spaced to be +1 on block. It's one of the best ways for Cham to score a knockdown and start her mix. Her hurt box is low enough to the ground that she can even low profile certain jump-ins, making it a viable anti-air, of which Cham has many. Her fireball is weak for zoning, but the light version has value in being an extended poke that, surprisingly, has less startup and recovery than her crouching C. When Cham gets a knockdown, she has a multi-way looping mix-up that's the main part of her game plan. Her running B is an overhead, running C crosses up, her down forward D for a low, she's still in position to grab you, and she can bait out jump attempts. If she's conditioned you enough to stay still, she can also command grab you from her flip special. If all of this sounds annoying to deal with, that's because it is. Much like Rimururu, Cham Cham thrives on making the opponent mad. Her weapon flip is pretty good, being easy to combo into and is another viable anti-air for her. And her SSM is faster compared to others and has very good range, so Cham can use it to catch jumps if she has the read. But the good times have to end for Cham at some point, and when they do, you'll feel it. While she has a good run speed and down forward D for approaching, it's pretty much all she has for that. She has a very hard time against zoners or anybody with long enough buttons to keep her out, which is a lot of characters. Her lights are very stubby, and her heavies are pretty terrible with slow startups and hurt boxes that hilariously linger on the boomerang even with how far she throws it out. Her jump normals are stubby too, so jump-ins are harder to land. Okay, so approaching is tough for her, but everything's alright if she gets her mix going, right? Well, it's true, she has a lot of follow-ups to keep the opponent guessing. The problem is all of these options are low in damage. She's going to have to mix you a lot to rack up on damage. If you get out of the mix and land a punish on her, you likely caught up from the life deficit, if not outdamage her completely. One of Cham Cham's main specials is her flip called Caught, complete with an exclamation mark. It has 3 follow-ups she can perform, including a command grab, an overhead, and a low. While functionally similar, if you're looking at this special expecting something as good as Akuma's demon flip, prepare to be disappointed. The startup for all versions are slow enough to be reactable, and it's too slow to set up off her knockdowns unless you really condition the opponent to sit still. It has value being a corner escape option, but otherwise, it's not reliable enough for Cham to use often. Given she's a rare character and the active player base was already pretty small by the time she came out, Cham can definitely get away with knowledge checking opponents. But be prepared to play out of your mind against anyone that's caught on to your tricks. If you want to play a fun comic relief character in your serious M-rated samurai game, and if you want to piss off your opponents with a looping mix and force them to hear this nonstop, then Cham Cham could be perfect for you. Appearing in almost every Sam Show game, Ukyo's one of the most popular characters in the series. While typically played as a defensive mix-up character, Ukyo can be played in a variety of ways, with all of the playstyles being centered around his powerful overhead special, Tsubame Gaishi. Ukyo sports a very strong ground game. His standing B is a fantastic normal, good range, far cancelable, and it has a fast 9-frame startup. It's an easy confirm into his Zanzo special, and on whiff he can cancel into his apple toss to reduce its recovery. Crouching C and running C are fast whiff punish options. His slide and forward D are also similar. Both cover a lot of ground for Ukyo and are faster, less risky options from further away. His down forward D knocks down and can be made safe if used as a meaty. It's a core part of Ukyo's high-low mix-up game when used alongside crouching D and Tsubame. For Ukyo's specials, I already mentioned Zanzo as a solid combo ender. Sasame Yuki is a safe on block special meant to push the opponent away while also getting some chip damage. Finally, we have the centerpiece to Ukyo's game plan since the beginning, Tsubame Gaishi, a 3-frame air special that serves a multitude of roles. Need an anti-air? Tsubame. Need an instant overhead? Tsubame. Need a punish option? Tsubame. Need a projectile reflect? Tsubame. Need an air tear? Tsubame. This move does everything for Ukyo. Except cures tuberculosis, it can't do that. With the right input, Tsubame can be formed instantly the moment Ukyo is in the air, and this is a requirement to learn if you want to pick him up. When Ukyo's up close, you're forced to guess between the high Tsubame or his low kicks, including down forward D, which will knock you down to loop the mix again. If you end up too afraid of Tsubame, Ukyo can keep pestering you with lows and possibly even grabs. The catch is that Tsubame is punishable on block, sometimes severely depending on the angle. The risk of messing up is always looming over Ukyo, but Ukyo has the chance to overwhelm the opponent with bad guesses before that happens. Ukyo's a great character on the ground, but Ukyo's one of the few characters with a really long moon jump. You're discouraged from jumping often when you're playing Ukyo, and you aren't landing any jump-ins with him. However, he has a few good air-to-airs and Tsubame to protect himself, so depending on who you play, it's not as easy as it looks punishing an Ukyo in the air. Ukyo's biggest problem is not having any long-ranged option to help him stand his ground or move in against characters that outrange his standing B. Getting close to set up his high-low game becomes a lot harder, and these same characters don't have a reason to move in on him if they have the life lead. While it has more utility than the actual worst ones, Ukyo's weapon flip is mediocre. Ukyo only has one way of comboing into it, which is from back throw. It's too slow to combo from a button or forward throw. It has projectile invincibility in its startup, so it can be used to punish badly timed fireballs. But again, the slow startup makes this less reliable. On the bright side, Ukyo has the longest rage timer in the game. He builds up rage more slowly than anybody else, but he gets to enjoy the damage boost much longer. These flaws, along with the executional demands of instant air Tsubame, can make Ukyo a difficult character to pick up. He's not as good as he was in Season 1 or some previous incarnations, but Ukyo's still a pretty strong character in Sam Show 2019. Ukyo's a great pick for anybody that wants a strong grounded neutral game and a consistent way to build mental stack on the opponent. First debuting in Sam Show 6, Iroha returns, much to the joy of bird enthusiasts everywhere. In-game, Iroha is a Shoto-esque zoner with unique mobility options she can use to lame out or mix the opponent. Notably, she's the only character in the game with a step dash instead of a run, which comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages. Much of Iroha's kit has to accommodate for her not having a run. She obviously doesn't have any running normals. This is a big disadvantage, but she has great normals to compensate. Mainly her kicks, but her standing C is a dive that is relatively fast for a heavy and reaches about half screen. A fantastic whip punish option, and since it knocks down, it's one way to set up Iroha's vortex. It also has a small window where it can go over low enough grounded projectiles. Iroha's star normals are her kicks. Back D is a shoulder bash that covers surprisingly good distance and is a launcher that will allow for juggles. It's at worst -12 on block, but Iroha can cancel into pinwheel to be safe, or frame trap depending on the version. Since the opponent is launched on hit, it also means they can't burst out of weapon flip. Standing D and forward D are both hop kicks that can go over lows and be Kara cancelled into her air specials. Forward D is especially important to Iroha's kit since it's also an overhead. Up close, Iroha has a looping high-low mix-up between her forward D, crouching D, and down forward D. Iroha's specials provide strong zoning, safety, and air control. Her fireball is very strong and can also aim upward to catch jump attempts. Her air fireball can be used to cover retreats as well as stop the opponent from advancing. It's a way to alter her jump arc too. Her medium and heavy DPs are anti-airs that cover different angles. The air version of her DP angles downward, functioning almost like a dive kick. Besides air control and punishing bad approach attempts, her dive kick is mostly safe, being -5 to -7 on block. Pinwheel is a Tatsu-like special and Iroha's main combo ender. The light version is the slowest, but it's also much safer on block, being only -3 at worst. To round out her specials, Iroha has a counter that can catch high in mid-attacks. With her specials and double jump, Iroha is amazing at zoning and playing a hit-and-run game. When she's not evading you, she's able to constantly annoy you with her pressure. Small mistakes can build up, and if she's conditioned you enough, she can punish harder with a deflect into SSM. As previously said, her kit is designed in such a way to compensate for not having a run, and that comes with some notable downsides when playing her. Without a traditional run, Iroha's ability to approach and punish you are limited. It's harder for her to threaten with throw like everybody else can. And while standing C nets good damage for a normal, it's often her only punish option, whereas other characters are capable of doing more. Her mix-up game can be very irritating to go up against, but the actual damage reward from it is pretty low. Iroha's damage output in general is on the lower side. Evasion is Iroha's strongest quality. To quote BBoySonicX, she's great at testing an opponent's patience, but she is a character that also requires great patience to use. If playing evasive and irritating the opponent sounds appealing to you, if you like having unique movement unlike anybody else in the game, or you enjoy other assets of the character, then check out Iroha. The new protagonist of Sam Show 2019, Yashamaru is a simple yet effective character capable of controlling the ground and air. He's able to make the most out of his small kit thanks to strong normals, his air mobility, and extra enhancements when in rage. Like Jubei, Yashamaru's kit leans more into a defensive playstyle. He wants to poke out the opponent and look for opportunities to bait and punish. To help with this, Yasha has great long-range normals. Standing B is a disjointed and very active poke. When used in neutral, it pairs nicely with his crouching C, which is faster and hits low to catch anybody trying to walk back. His running C is risky, but it hits overhead and is a great punish option that will send the opponent away on hit. What holds Yasha's game plan together is his double jump. With it, Yasha can weave around the opponent and whiff punish any mistakes. It also makes him a lot harder to pin down. If he has the life lead, Yasha's able to run away and just defend whenever he's back on the ground, building up his rage meter without exposing himself too much. In the event the opponent is in Rage Explosion, Yasha's double jump is a great deterrent against Isen. Jumping will still carry a risk here, but the risk is a lot lower with Yasha, and he has the added ability to bait and punish Isen attempts. For Yasha's specials, Wintry Gust is an air special that's best used as a whiff punish tool, mainly against fireballs. Azure Gale is a combo ender or long-range whiff punisher. The air version of Azure Gale can also be used as a risky escape option. Arctic Tempest is a very risky overhit that you won't see much of outside of hard callouts. In addition to his specials, Yashamaru has, in my opinion, the worst weapon flip in the game. He's unable to combo or throw into it. While it can reach full screen, a lot of characters can jump punish it. If the opponent wants to, they can also pop Rage Explosion after Yasha activates it and immediately Isen. You can set up the weapon flip to be safe on block and get some chip damage in. It actually becomes much safer and even plus on block if Yasha's in Rage Explosion. But outside of that, Yasha isn't going to be threatening anyone with weapon flip. He has good buttons, but his weapon flip is near unusable and his damage outside of Rage is low. If everything I said was the extent of Yasha's kit, I would have said he was a pretty bad character. What's so special about Yasha then? Well, when he's in Rage, Yashamaru changes more than any other character in the game. For everybody else in the cast, Rage offers a damage boost and might change the properties of one or two specials. For Yasha, all of his specials and his Standing C change properties. Standing C gains an extra follow-up dealing a total of 480 damage. Wintry Gust on hit will now allow follow-ups. Azure Gale deals significantly more damage as a combo ender and is projectile invincible. The air version can now be done instantly for overhead setups. Arctic Tempest is still punishable, but it's now a cross-up tool to mix up the opponent. Remember earlier when I said Yasha can hang back and just defend the opponent for Rage? This is his reward for doing so. Yasha can lame out the opponent with a life lead, but put him in Rage, he can end rounds in a flash. Because of how beneficial Rage is for Yashamaru, bursting carries an even bigger risk for him. A Yasha that's forced to burst in round 2 is at a disadvantage for the rest of the match, even if he's able to win the round. But the reward Yasha gets off of Rage makes this risk worth it. Yasha's capable of holding his own when he's not in Rage, and when he is in Rage, everybody will need to change how they approach him if they want to win. His double jump might be intimidating at first for new players, but Yasha's actually a very straightforward, fundamentals-heavy character. If the extra mobility on a beginner-friendly character sounds appealing to you, or you like the idea of changing the game every time you enter Rage, Yashamaru is worth checking out. The only returning character from Sam Show 64, Shiki's an explosive rushdown character that wants to keep opponents on the ground to hold her pressure. While her walk speed is average for the cast, Shiki's tied with Kazuki and Hanzo for the fastest run speed in the game. She covers a lot of ground by run stopping, and this strategy is further helped by her fast normals. Standing B is a go-to button for Shiki as it's fast for her medium, is her main combo button, whiff punish tool, and is relatively safe. Running A is unsafe, but it's only 5 frames on startup. Since it's disjointed, it's a great surprise option in mid-range thanks to Shiki's speed. Her slide serves a similar role, but it can be made safe. Standing C is her farthest reaching ground normal. Since it's a heavy, it's relatively slow, but it's decent damage on hit. She reels her hurt box back during its startup, and she can recoil cancel into her teleport for safety, so punishing this move is harder than it looks. Her running C is an excellent punish option, and it's only -11 on block. For Shiki's specials, Exodus Stream is a 2-part Rekka and Shiki's main combo ender. The first part hits low, but it's very unsafe, so it's recommended you only use it as a combo tool. Elysium Halo is a fairly standard DP. Tartarus Drop is a low-hitting hit grab that also side switches. Setsuna is a risky teleport. It's nice as an escape option or niche mix-up tool, but use it sparingly. Finally, we have her mix-up specials in Lotus Stance. Sublimation is a command grab that can be crouched, and Oblivion is an overhead that can low crush and can even cross up with the right position. All of this sounds good, but Shiki has one big problem: zoners. Shiki's normals aren't bad, but they get outranged by the plethora of high to top tiers with long normals. Her teleport isn't reliable for dealing with fireballs. Her jump normals are very mediocre. Jumping C is solid as a jump in normal and can cross up, but it's not too difficult to catch for anybody with a good anti-air. The rest of her jump normals are very stubby and are poor for jump-ins and air-to-airs. Both Lotus Stance specials are reactable on paper and very punishable if the opponent guesses right. She has her run speed, but Kazuki and Hanzo both have fireballs and a better walk speed than her. Despite all this, Shiki's considered by many top players to be a high tier, or at least upper mid tier character depending on who you talk to, and she's had great success in tournaments. How is it that she's able to keep up with the current meta so well? Well, she has one counter option. Shiki's SSM is the best SSM in the game. It tracks the opponent from anywhere on screen. Shiki can punish fireballs and other long-range options from anywhere, some of which she can even do on reaction. At 620 damage, you're essentially giving Shiki the round if you're careless. The threat of her SSM is a huge deterrent that forces zoners to respect Shiki more, or else they'll be forced to work at a life deficit or burst sooner than preferred. Once the SSM is gone, it's true that Shiki's gonna have to work harder against the opponent, but at least it helps give her a head start in overwhelming them. If you want fast buttons, pressure, low execution, and a looming threat over the opponent's head at all times, then give Shiki a try. Another iconic mainstay in the series, Hanzo is a highly mobile mix-up character that wants to lock you down with his fireball and powerful Okizeme tools. You can play Hanzo in different ways, but since his powerful command grab is a core part of his mix, Hanzo's the closest thing the game has to a grappler. Hanzo is tied with Kazuki for the fastest walk and run speeds in the game. Along with this, he has extra mobility tools like multiple teleports, a wall jump, and a special backdash that covers a ton of ground and can be cancelled early into his specials, usually his fireball. Just like Galford, Hanzo still has access to all of his specials while unarmed, being able to hold his own better than most until he gets his weapon back. Many of his normals are designed around his mix, either by setting up a knockdown or are harder to react to when used behind his fireball. Crouching C, running B, forward D, and his slide all knock down. His standing C is a very slow leaping strike, but its airborne state means it completely beats D-Flex. His running C is also slow and very punishable, but it hits overhead and can hit either in front or cross up. For Hanzo's specials, Hanzo has the best command grab in the game. Relatively short recovery, and the heavy version is the highest damaging non-super command grab. He also has a running version of the command grab that has even less recovery. He has multiple teleports either for dodging attacks, running away, or punishing the opponent. The centerpiece to Hanzo's game plan is his fireball, commonly known by the English-speaking community as the Slinky. The Slinky is a slow-moving fireball that Hanzo's able to run behind. It's plus on block, and Hanzo has multiple routes he can follow up into for a mix-up. When Hanzo gets a knockdown, he's almost always going to be setting up Slinky right after. Alternatively, Hanzo can use it while running away by canceling into it from his backdash, forcing the opponent to halt their approach. Hanzo's mix is pretty good, but it does have gaps where the opponent can escape or counter. He's generally taking pretty heavy risks to try and scare the opponent into holding his mix. But this changes when he's in Rage. The Rage version of Slinky is one of the best special moves in the game. It's faster than the light version and it hits 7 times, so good luck trying to stance break it. The multiple hits will lock the opponent into an extended block stun, and Hanzo's mix-ups afterward are significantly harder to contest, many of them becoming true block strings. If the opponent is hit by Rage Slinky, Hanzo can follow up afterward with either jumping C or air throw. At 18 seconds, Hanzo has the second longest rage timer in the game. Plenty of time for him to take full advantage of rage and force the opponent into his now mostly safe and much more damaging vortex. His reward from rage is high enough that Hanzo won't be using his weapon flip as often, but he's still able to combo into that if needed. Without rage, Hanzo's mix is a lot riskier and less rewarding, being forced to call out the opponent's escape attempts in order to make them respect his Oki. Hanzo's buttons aren't awful, but his mid-range game is on the weaker side. His far-standing B is decently fast and has good range, but it pushes Hanzo forward in its startup. On one hand, this lets Hanzo be more aggressive in mid-screen and it can beat slower long-ranged pokes. But on the other hand, it's harder for him to space out to be safe, and it's susceptible to getting counter-poked. He can't combo into any of his specials on hit. His recoil cancel options aren't very good since Slinky has a slow startup, and Teleport will lose to faster punishes like a medium slash. Hanzo depends heavily on rage. This dependency can make him an inconsistent character, but his reward from it is staggering, and it makes Hanzo especially great at fighting the player and getting into their head. He's not a popular character, but he has seen success as a counterpick from the likes of Nice Ball and Watanabe Shacho. If you like rushdown-oriented mix-up characters, if you like having a momentum-heavy game plan, or you're annoyed the series' actual grapplers aren't in the game and you need a replacement, then Hanzo may be what you're looking for. Debuting in Sam Show 5, where she continues to knowledge check new players on Fightcade, Mina returns as a stance-based zoner with great screen control and some really good pressure options too. What she may lack in damage, she makes up for in her ability to control the match. Through lore reasons that seemingly involve gluing a blade to the top of her bow, Mina's replaced her arrow normals from previous appearances for more traditional slashes. While those familiar with her 5 special incarnation will find her almost completely different, this is a change that benefits her a lot. One of her standout normals is her standing B, which has pretty good range and is far cancelable, great as a poke, dash check, and as a punish option for certain attacks. Her running A, while punishable, is very fast at 5 frames, and can combo into Prophecy of Arabi as well as weapon flip. Running B is notable due to being non-deflectable. Her overhead has great range, making it great as a poke and relatively difficult to punish. Some of her kick buttons also deserve to be highlighted. Standing D is one of the rare normals in the game that isn't negative on block, and it can even be plus on block if used as a meaty. Her forward D, despite its appearance, hits low and is able to knock down. It's relatively safe on block and is even safe from the likes of E-Sen and stance breaks. Just be sure not to whiff it. Mina's specials also got a rework that worked out in her favor. The main special and centerpiece of Mina's kit is her bow stance. From her bow stance, Mina can release an arrow from mid, low, upwards, and she has a jumping version too. Frame data wise, these are the fastest fireballs in the game. She can shoot arrows uncharged if need be, but she can charge every version up to 3 levels. Each level increases the damage and frame advantage on hit and block. If you're standing still too much, the chip damage will add up. Even with just defense, you still have to guess which version she's shooting. The mid arrow is the fastest, and the fully charged version will beat out grounded fireballs. The low arrow is great for checking anyone trying to walk or dash in. The upward arrow is able to shut down jumpers, and the uncharged and level 1 versions will hit overhead on the way down. Mina can also cancel out of her stance for mind games or to bait out certain anti-zoning options. Mina is able to cover up multiple angles from her stance, with the catch being she can only charge 1 version at a time. It's up to the opponent to figure out how to approach Mina here. If you guess right against Mina, it could be some big damage, but with how good her arrows are, it's a scenario that's generally under Mina's control. Along with her arrows, Mina also has an excellent reflect to deal with fireballs. Instead of sending the fireball itself back, she absorbs it and it turns into a new projectile. Its fast startup makes it easy to use in reaction to fireballs. This reflect also surprisingly works on non-traditional zoning tools like Wu's ground traps and Nakaruru's bird. Yuri's Whisper is an escape or repositioning tool that Mina can cancel into bow stance as soon as she touches the ground. You'll mainly see this special as a recoil cancel. Mina's bow stance is very strong, but you have to be careful about setting it up. On top of its own startup and needing to charge frames, charging for too long will force Mina to release a weaker arrow and be locked into a very slow recovery animation. This forces you to make a decision quickly on what arrow you want to use or cancel out of it. You're also at more risk to jump-ins if you're locked into bow stance, since you don't have access to any of Mina's usual anti-air options. You can only use the upward arrow, which isn't terrible, but it is slower than her usual options. Using the bow stance requires some commitment, but its pros far outweigh what cons it has. Even without a high damage output, Mina's kit is practically designed around sending the opponent back to full screen and figure out how to move past her zoning again. If you're someone that loves screen control, making quick decisions, and forcing your opponent to guess on approaching, or you want to play Mina in a game where she's actually strong, definitely give her a try here. Well, I guess you could also play Samsho 6 for that, but I don't play that one, so... Guest starring from a Chinese MOBA that is much bigger than I realized, Gongsun-Li is an unconventional zoner that uses her strong fireball and teleports to move around the screen and punish anybody overextending. She's unique in that she frequently disarms herself to set up her umbrella for teleports. With a very strong set of unarmed normals, Gongsun-Li is the best unarmed character in the game. When she's armed, Gongsun-Li, or GSL for short, does have some solid poking normals. Both her standing B and crouching B are good pokes, standing B being slower than average to compensate for its good range. Her running B is her main combo tool while she's armed. She has a strong fireball for zoning, one of the best in the game. Her fireball charges a gauge on hit, and when it's maxed out, her next fireball will deal extra damage, have reduced recovery, and she can follow up with another attack. The crux of GSL's game plan is her ability to disarm herself, whether by throwing out her umbrella or by launching herself away from it. Many of her tools become stronger and/or safer when she's unarmed. Her fireball has a slightly faster startup and travels faster. Her unarmed normals sacrifice range in favor of being a lot faster, and some gain the ability to knock down, so it's easier for her to put you into a high-low mix-up. While GSL's umbrella is in place, she's able to teleport back to it from anywhere on the screen. While you know where she's going to land, this teleport is significantly faster than other teleports in the game, making her hard to pin down, and she's able to set up unique punish situations. Teleporting back to the umbrella means rearming yourself. You have to get used to switching between the better range and damage output of her armed normals and the speed and mix-up potential of her unarmed normals. Every character has ways of setting up for a deflect, including GSL. While unarmed, she also has many ways of setting up for a blade catch. The reason why this is so strong is blade catch has about half the recovery deflect has. It's much less risky for GSL to throw out while also still being very rewarding. GSL can afford being unarmed, but everybody else is going to suffer. While GSL's game plan is balanced around being unarmed, and she's a very strong character for it, the disadvantages of being unarmed still apply. She'll take chip damage from normals and doesn't have access to her weapon flip nor rage explosion while unarmed. Her SSM has the opposite problem of being only available while unarmed. She has extra uses for it, and her SSM is the fastest in the game at 24 frames, but she can't use it in the same scenarios as other SSMs like a deflect. Her teleport is normally very fast, but if her umbrella is outside the screen, then she gets a noticeable amount of extra recovery frames. GSL isn't a popular character. She might even be the least used character in the game. Her origins might have something to do with that, but her large learning curve is a big factor too. She doesn't play like anybody else in the game. It can be daunting having to manage an armed and unarmed playstyle, constantly staying on the move and zoning the opponent to death. But in the right hands, GSL can be a force to be reckoned with. If the idea of playing one of the strangest characters in the game sounds appealing to you, Gongsun-Li is your girl. Somehow only the second weirdest guest character in Samsho 2019, Warden from For Honor is a rushdown character that wants to put pressure on his opponents with his shallow jump, great running normals, and target combos. If you want to talk about a character whose stocks have risen in the meta, look no further than Warden. He didn't make much of a splash when he came out. Not really sure why, maybe there wasn't much interest for him back in the day? I don't know. But when offline tournaments became more prominent thanks to the SWC, Warden became less of a potential man, and now one of the more popular characters in brackets. One of the most notable things about Warden are his specials, or rather, his lack of them. Warden only has 2 specials, the smallest out of the cast, and only one of them is generally considered good. His first is Shoulder Bash, a special so slow and counterable that it's not even worth going over its upsides. It's a scrub killer move at best, but not something that's used in the top level. His other special is a counter that beats high and mid slashes, specials, jump-ins, and it can even reflect most projectiles. He can follow up on a successful catch. Pretty great as far as counters go, but it's still a counter and not something he can rely on. Because of this, there's a bigger emphasis on Warden's normals. Despite being in a bulky suit of armor, Warden's at his best in the air. At 42 frames, Warden's tied with Charlotte for the fastest jump arc in the game, and he has some of the best jump normals to pair with that. Jumping A is a fast air-to-air, and the angle is great for catching opponents that are diagonally above him. Jumping B has fantastic horizontal range. That of course makes it another great air-to-air, but it's also great as a poke in neutral. If Warden hits a grounded opponent with it, he'll most likely be in position to get a full combo off of it. However, it will whiff on crouching opponents, so it can't be overused. His jumping C doesn't have to worry about this though, so it's a powerful pressure tool similar to Charlotte's jumping C. When on the offensive, Warden will be using both jumping B and C constantly. If this pressure isn't halted, it opens the door for Warden to mix it up with something like an empty jump into grab. When he's on the ground, Warden is blessed with having one of the best standing A's in the game. It's fast and has very good range for a light normal. It's a great anti-air option for further away jumps. His close standing B has a special guard point property that armors through high and mid attacks. The guard point also gives it use as a niche anti-air. His overhead has great range and pairs well with his also far-reaching crouching C. Taking inspiration from Hamaru, Warden's running A is a great non-deflectable approach tool that also stops approaches itself. Now, despite all of this, most of Warden's ground normals aren't insanely powerful in a vacuum. They're not bad by any means, but Warden prefers being in the opponent's face, and his ground normals are lacking as mid-range pokes. What helps Warden stand out on the ground are his extra target combos and feints inspired by For Honor. Without specials, his target combos fulfill the role of being combo enders, but their use doesn't end there. Warden's able to feint out of his target combos and even the startup of certain normals. For example, his standing C is normally risky to throw out due to its very slow startup, but Warden can feint out of it to surprise opponents that try to move in for a punish or run away. Feinting out of some of Warden's target combos will leave him plus on whiff and open the door for more pressure and stopping the opponent from falling back or counterattacking. Warden overwhelms you with his jump normals in order to set you up into a guessing game from his feints and longer normals. Guess wrong and you're going to be knocked down into another mix, or a big chunk of your health is gone. Warden's game plan inherently has risks to it. You have to make some strong reads in order to make the opponent respect you and hold your mix further. Without a viable special move, Warden's recoil cancel game is very poor, so his grounded neutral game is more punishable. Jumping is Warden's main way of moving in, so he'll have a harder time against any character with strong grounded anti-airs, and getting launched back by a stance break hurts a lot more against any zoner. Despite this, he still fares better than most getting in since he still has his reflect for fireballs and his jumping B reaching very far. Having a shallow jump and strong air normals are huge qualities to have in Sam Show 2019. These alone can carry Warden far, but I believe his ability to make the opponent guess from a healthy distance away and his general reward for doing so are what pushed Warden to be considered one of the strongest characters in today's meta. If you like having a simple but effective game plan, big buttons, or if you're curious how For Honor would play on a 2D plane, then check out Warden. And with that, we have finished looking at the Samurai Shodown 2019 cast. It's been a slow process, but it has been a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Besides just thinking it would be a fun video to make, I've learned a lot as a competitive player through researching for this series. As I've said in previous videos, if you've never played Samurai Shodown before, definitely check it out. Hopping into the series has never been as accessible as it is now. I have more Sam Show and other fighting game content coming in the future, so be sure to be on the lookout for that if you're interested. A big thank you to all the players I reached out to and the Mizumi Wiki for info. And thank you, viewer, for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.